So I wanted to talk a little bit about how emotions help seal in a belief system. Okay? So emotions are the key, right? We talk about this a lot during the weekend, right? So emotions are the power. That's what seals things in place, right? So it may be a trauma from our past, and it's the emotion that we chose to feel in that moment that seals that moment. And so many times when we're working with a client or with ourselves, the key is to get a hold of the emotion attached to the trauma, because once we release the emotion, we release the trauma. Now you see, belief systems are created, and I believe the energy or the battery that holds a belief system together is an emotion or emotions. Now here's the interesting thing about it. If we're trying to change a belief system, so by belief systems I mean I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not tall enough, I am not rich enough, I can never be rich, whatever that looks like, right? I could never be welcome, right? So those are belief systems. So what they are is they're filters through which we perceive our world. And the interesting thing about belief systems is that once they're established, we talk a lot about this in the level 3 and in the masters, once they're established, our subconsciousness will send signals to our 5 senses to search for evidence to validate that belief system. And they will also filter out or ignore evidence contrary to that belief system. And so here's something that I've been working on, and really I've been working on it with myself. And it's really an interesting learning that I'm experiencing, that as we go about changing a belief system, I have found that as we slip into that place, that meditative state, if you will, and you see, for me, and we actually talked about this at the meditation gathering on, it'll be last night, so that would be the one labeled March 25th, I guess it would be. We talked about what meditation is and about how meditation is a place. And you see, for me, meditation is that place where there is nothing but peace and stillness. And in that place, there isn't even emotions. Another phrase we can use for that place is the present moment. Right? The present moment. And the present moment is simply just being totally aware, being totally focused on right here and right now. So as we slip into that space and that place, underneath emotions, what that allows us to do is to be able to very effectively and very quickly change a belief system. Because in that moment, that belief system is released from the emotion. And this is, I believe, is one of the many valuable benefits of understanding and practicing a lifestyle of meditation. So as we're in that place where we're beneath emotions, what that does is releases that belief system so we can change it. You see, it's not that we can't obviously change it even from our thought processes, right? Or just by flooding our mind with stimulus that's contrary to our belief system. So one of the big one is with folks is financial abundance, right? I believe so many times a very big factor in the reason that you or I or anyone else has a difficulty implementing, I'm sure we've all seen The Secret and know about the law of attraction, all that kind of thing. I believe one of the reasons why we don't enjoy that to its fullest is there's a belief system within us that says that for whatever reason we're not supposed to possess it, or we're not supposed to experience that experience. And so because of that belief system, it feeds the signals through our subconsciousness, which affects our behaviors to validate that belief system. So yes, we can change that. Obviously we can change it with just sheer willpower, right? Or we can change it with just sort of inundating ourselves with all the stimulus and whatnot. And that is effective. But it's almost like we're fighting against the current, because that emotion is holding that in place, right? And so as we feed this other stimulus, it's almost like we're assaulting this belief system. And while that's a piece of the puzzle, I believe as we understand this other piece of the puzzle, we can really supercharge all the other techniques that we're using. So as we look at that belief system, as I said, that says I am, for whatever reason, not supposed to experience this experience of abundance. So as we can get into that meditative state which is that place where we aren't experiencing in that moment any emotions, and then we can use whatever we may use. So maybe it's a positive affirmation or something like that. Maybe it's our vision board, right? A vision board is a board that we put different pictures on. Whatever tools and techniques we want to use. If we can bring ourselves into that meditative state and then start to introduce some of that stimulus, and it might just be for a moment, because we've released those emotions from that belief system. We're not even supposed to release them. We've just slipped underneath them, so they aren't sealing it in place. Now our subconsciousness, and that's where those belief systems reside, is much better positioned to receive that information and then to begin to reconfigure that belief system. This is one of the many, many benefits that I have found from meditation. And as you learn and you practice this state of being, what happens, you will be able to more effectively create that atmosphere or that environment for your clients. And remember, your clients don't have to always be somebody horizontal on the table, right? They can be the person sitting across from the coffee table with you, person, filling up your car, whatever it might be, an acquaintance at work. Once we learn how to slip into that easier, we help to create and send out that resonance, which helps to foster that experience in the person that we happen to be speaking with. And as we do that, that releases those belief systems, which greatly enhances the healing. Okay? So belief systems, emotions are that battery that hold that belief system, hold that configuration in place. The more we can slip underneath those emotions, meditation, present moment, a place of peace and stillness, the easier it is and the simpler it is, I guess if you will, for us to be able to reconfigure those belief systems. And then here's kind of a step 2. Then what we can also do is, once those begin to shift and change, then we can begin to attach new emotions to that new belief system. And so as we start to reconfigure that, what we can do is we can choose to feel joy, or we can do something that would cause us to feel joyful, right? So here's the thing. Get into that meditative state, right? Whatever that belief system is, begin to work with that, right? Whether you're giving yourself new stimulus or just sort of speaking to it, allowing it to change and shift, and then do something that attaches a pleasant or a positive, I kind of hate to use positive, negative, a pleasant emotion to that experience that you're having. That will begin to seal that new belief system in with very pleasant emotions. And of course our subconsciousness says, hey, this is good, I like this is pleasant, so I'm going to search for more opportunities to feel pleasant.